Let me tell you something, ladies. When you stop contacting a man, when you go silent, that's when the real test begins. See, communication is comfort. When you're constantly calling, texting, checking in, you're giving him the luxury of knowing he still got you. You are present, you are available, you are still invested. When you stop contacting a man, you're doing something more powerful than you realize. You're sending a message without saying a single word. That silence becomes a mirror, and in that mirror, he sees himself, his actions, his effort, or lack of it. He starts to question the things he never thought twice about. He starts to wonder why your name isn't popping up on his phone anymore, why the good morning texts stop, why the conversations are no longer flowing. He starts to wonder what changed, and more importantly, he starts to realize what he might be losing. That silence, it's not just you stepping back, it's you shifting the balance of power. And baby, men feel that shift immediately. A man who's used to your attention, your care, your time, he starts to feel the withdrawal like a habit going cold turkey. And you better believe it shakes him up. Now, here's the thing. If he was never really invested, he might not move. He might not call, might not text, might not do anything. But that's your answer right there. Silence works both ways. It reveals a man's intentions. If he doesn't react when you stop contacting him, it's because he was never truly present. He was just enjoying the convenience of your effort. But if he cared, if there was a real connection, then your silence becomes deafening. He starts questioning himself. He checks his phone more often. He starts scrolling through your old messages, looking for signs, wondering what he missed. He might even talk to his friends about it. That space you gave him becomes uncomfortable. Men don't always react with words. They don't always express themselves openly, but trust this, they feel it. They might act like they're unbothered, but behind that calm surface, there's a storm of uncertainty. They wonder what you're thinking, if you're moving on, if someone else is now getting your attention. And the reason this hits so hard is because men don't expect women to just disappear, especially not the ones who gave so much energy and emotion before. They think you'll always be there, that no matter what they do or don't do, you'll keep reaching out, keep forgiving, keep waiting. So when you stop, it's a shock to the system. It's a wake-up call. A man starts to realize he doesn't have the hold on you he thought he did. That maybe, just maybe, you're stronger than he assumed. That you can live without him. That you respect yourself more than to keep chasing someone who won't meet you halfway. It's in this space that a man makes his real decision, not when things are good, not when you're giving him your all, but when you stop. When you pull back, you give him a chance to step forward. And if he doesn't, then he's shown you everything you needed to know. But if he does, if he starts texting again, calling, asking to see you, trying to fix what he messed up, that's when you know your silence worked. Not because it manipulated him, but because it revealed him. A man who truly wants a woman will not let her slip away in silence. He will fight for her. He will explain. He will apologize. He will change his behavior. Sometimes the best way to see where you stand in a man's life is to stop talking. Not because you're playing games, but because you need clarity. And silence brings clarity. It cuts through the confusion. If you're always reaching out, always explaining, always trying to fix things, you're never giving him the space to feel your absence. And feeling your absence is what makes him value your presence. That's how you flip the script. Now let's talk about the internal part of this. The strength it takes for a woman to stop contacting a man she cares about is no small thing. It's courage. It's self-respect in motion. It means you've decided you're not going to beg for attention. You're not going to chase after someone who's inconsistent. You're not going to keep calling a man who doesn't know how to answer. And that silence, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's you realizing that if someone wants to be in your life, they will make an effort, and if they don't, you let them go. You don't force it. You don't cry about it every night. You feel the pain, but you don't let it break you. You move with grace. You keep living. And the beautiful thing is, when a man does come back after you've gone silent, he knows the dynamic has changed. He knows he can't play with you the same way. You've shown him that you're not afraid to walk away. You've proven that your life doesn't revolve around him. You are not dependent on his attention to feel worthy. And that's powerful. That makes a man respect you. He might not say it out loud, but trust me, he feels it. And if he really wants you, he will come back different. He will come back better. And if he doesn't, you just saved yourself years of wasted time. So when you stop contacting a man, remember, you're not just being quiet. You're making a statement. You're putting yourself first. You're saying, I've done my part. The rest is up to you. And that's when the truth shows up. That's when you find out who he really is and what you truly mean to him. When a woman stops contacting a man, it triggers something deep in him, something he may not even be prepared to face. Men are used to patterns. They rely on consistency. When he gets used to hearing from you every day, seeing your messages, feeling your energy, even if he doesn't always show appreciation for it, he begins to depend on it. And when that suddenly goes quiet, it disrupts his rhythm. He might act like he doesn't care. He might try to seem unbothered, but inside he feels the shift. A man who had grown comfortable with your effort now has to sit in the discomfort of your absence. That quiet you offer him, it's louder than any argument, any text, any speech you could have delivered. You're no longer checking in. You're no longer asking if he's eaten, how his day was, or whether he got home safe. That level of attention that he may have once overlooked now becomes painfully obvious in its absence. But here's the thing, when you go silent, you force him into a space of reflection. You pull back your energy, your kindness, your presence, and he's left with nothing but his own thoughts and actions to sit with. Now he starts thinking. He replays conversations. He tries to figure out what went wrong. And if he had any real feelings for you, that space starts to bother him. But this goes deeper than just missing your messages. It taps into his ego too. Men have a need to feel wanted, admired, needed. When a woman consistently shows up for them, they feel in control. They feel important. When you take that away, they suddenly have to evaluate their own worth without your validation. And for a man who relied on your attention to feel secure, that can be a hard hit. He starts wondering if you've moved on, if another man is now getting your energy, if someone else is doing what he took for granted. That thought alone is enough to make a man stop and think twice. Now, depending on the type of man he is, the way he responds to your silence will vary. If he's a man with genuine intentions, if he really valued you but just got comfortable or lazy, your silence might wake him up. He'll start doing what he should have done all along. He'll initiate conversations. He'll check in on you. He'll try to rebuild the bridge he let crumble. Because when a man realizes he's about to lose something real, he either fights for it or admits he never deserved it in the first place. But if he's the type who only wanted access to you for convenience, your silence won't make him chase. It'll expose him. And that's a gift to you. That's clarity. A man who truly wants you will feel your absence like a missing heartbeat. A man who is just using your energy to fill his own empty spaces will quietly fade away. And when he does, let him, because your silence did what your words couldn't. It filtered out the noise. See, the power in going quiet isn't about punishing him. It's not about playing games. It's about protecting your peace. It's about no longer giving your time and effort to someone who doesn't reciprocate it. You're not reaching out because you finally understood your worth. And when a man feels that shift, it either inspires growth or reveals the gap between you. A lot of women get scared in that silence. They feel like maybe they're pushing him away. Maybe he'll forget about them, but let me be clear. You cannot lose a man who genuinely wants to be with you by stepping back. If your silence drives him away, he was never truly yours to begin with. If he forgets about you that fast, he wasn't serious about you in the first place. But if he feels the loss, if your absence creates a void in his day, that's when you know your presence matters. Men don't process emotions the same way women do. Sometimes they don't realize how much they care until they're forced to live without it. Your silence is that force. It's the emotional mirror that shows him the truth. It tells him, this is what life looks like without me, and if he doesn't like what he sees, he'll come running back, changed, more intentional, and hopefully more appreciative. The silence also gives you space to think clearly. When you're not consumed with sending messages or hoping for a reply, your mind gets room to breathe. You start noticing how often you were doing all the work. You see how much energy you were giving and how little you were receiving in return. That distance from the emotional noise helps you reconnect with yourself. You start remembering that you're valuable, even without someone constantly validating you. You remember that your peace matters, that you don't need to cling to someone who doesn't know how to hold on to you properly. If a man circles back after your silence, he knows the game has changed. He knows he has to come better, speak clearer, move with purpose, because you already showed him that you are not afraid to walk away, that you don't rely on anyone else to define your worth. And if he doesn't come back, that's not a loss, it's a revelation. It's a gift in disguise. It means your silence saved you from dragging along a man who was never truly invested. Stopping contact doesn't mean you're bitter. It doesn't mean you're trying to hurt him. It means you're tired of the confusion, tired of mixed signals, tired of being the only one keeping the connection alive. It means you're finally letting the situation breathe and letting him decide if he wants to meet you halfway or let it all go. Either way, you get your answer without begging for it. Your energy is precious. Your time is limited. You don't owe anyone constant access to your heart, your mind, or your space. If a man wants those things, he must earn them. And when you stop contacting him, he's got to ask himself whether he's willing to put in that effort. And the truth will always show up in what he chooses to do when your voice is no longer there to guide him. When you stop contacting a man, you're making a silent declaration that speaks volumes. You're telling him that you're no longer willing to carry the emotional weight of the relationship by yourself. That constant checking in, that waiting for replies, that hoping for more effort, it all stops. And in that stillness, something powerful starts to unfold. Because now he's left with nothing but his own actions and intentions. He no longer has the comfort of your reassurance or the security of your attention. He's left to reflect whether he likes it or not. And that reflection starts happening the moment the silence stretches longer than he expected. Men often get comfortable with access. They start believing your presence is guaranteed, your messages are routine, and your care is endless. So when it all vanishes, it rattles something inside of them. That silence, it creates space. Space that was once filled with your kindness, your curiosity, your conversation. And when that space goes empty, it doesn't just vanish, it echoes. He might go a day or two brushing it off, thinking you're just busy, but when a week passes and still there's nothing, that's when it begins to sink in. The realization hits him. She stopped chasing. She stopped trying. She stopped caring. Or worse, she gave up completely. If he really had any level of genuine care or interest, that's when his mind will begin spinning. He'll start watching your online activity, might scroll through your stories, check your posts, or linger on your profile trying to read between the lines. He may even fight with himself about whether he should reach out first, trying to protect his ego. But if he truly feels something real for you, that ego starts breaking down. Because men might act tough, but when they're faced with losing a woman who actually loved them sincerely, it shakes them up in a deep way. Not every man knows how to process that feeling, but they all feel it. If he's used to you being the emotional leader in the relationship, always initiating and keeping the connection alive, then your silence forces him to face a version of the relationship where he has to put in the effort. And not all men are ready for that. Some will take it as a wake-up call. They'll realize they let something good slip and rush to make it right. Others will simply fade because they were never planning to do more than the bare minimum. But in either case, your silence becomes the truth teller. You no longer need to ask where you stand. You see it in his actions or lack of them. There's a lesson in this that many women don't learn until they're emotionally exhausted. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't to yell, cry, or explain. It's to pull back, to go quiet. Because when you stop calling, stop texting, stop investing, you send a message that says, I've done all I can, the rest is up to you. And if he doesn't take that chance to step up, then the silence becomes your answer. Men test boundaries in subtle ways. They notice how much you'll tolerate, how far you'll go to keep the connection alive, and whether they can rely on you to always be there. But when you change that script, when you decide to remove yourself from the game, that's when the tables turn. Suddenly, he's not so sure of your place in his life anymore. He starts realizing that what he thought was permanent might have just become temporary. And that scares him more than he lets on. In that fear, a man might reach out. It might not be in the way you hoped or expected, but you'll see it in his efforts. Maybe he'll send a casual text to test the waters. Maybe he'll ask a question that doesn't really need an answer just to get you talking again. Or maybe, if he's serious about you, he'll come with clarity. He'll apologize, acknowledge where he went wrong, and ask for a chance to fix it. That's when you know the silence made him think. It woke him up. But the men who disappear completely when you stop contacting them, that's your blessing in disguise. That's the clarity you've been chasing finally arriving on its own. Silence can feel scary. It can make you second guess yourself, especially when you care. You might find yourself staring at your phone, wondering if he's thinking about you too. You might wonder if you should break and send one more message. But in that moment, remind yourself of why you went silent in the first place. You wanted effort. You wanted honesty. You wanted proof that he's as invested in you as you are in him. If your silence doesn't spark even a flicker of effort from him, then it was never your responsibility to keep trying in the first place. Sometimes a man needs to experience what it's like to not have you in his life to realize how valuable you are. Your silence is the mirror that reflects his reality back to him. It shows him whether he was just comfortable with you or committed to you. And once he sees the truth, he will either rise to meet your worth or walk away because he knows he can't. But here's the most important part. Your silence should never be about manipulating him into coming back. It should be about finding your own peace, about taking back your time and energy from someone who wasn't matching it. You go silent not because you're trying to teach him a lesson, but because you finally learned your own. You learned that your love is valuable, that You deserve mutual effort, that your presence is not something to be taken lightly. And when he feels the weight of your absence, if he truly cares, he will return. And not just with words, but with action. And if he doesn't, you let him stay gone. Because someone who doesn't recognize your value in your silence never truly saw it in your presence. When you stop contacting a man, something changes, not just in your relationship with him, but within you too. It's not just about making a statement to him. It's about reclaiming your own strength, your time, your sanity. At some point, constantly reaching out, always checking in, always waiting for his reply becomes draining. You start to realize that the relationship feels one-sided. You're the one doing the emotional lifting, the one trying to keep the connection alive, and the one suffering in silence when the effort isn't reciprocated. So one day you just stop, not out of spite, not because you don't care, but because you've given everything you can, and now it's time to see what he'll do without your voice filling in the gap. That silence, it speaks volumes. It's not loud, but it's powerful. A man might not admit it, but he feels it. He feels it in the moments he's used to hearing from you. He feels it in the absence of your good morning text. He notices when the support and emotional safety you provided just vanishes. For a while, he might pretend he's unbothered. He might carry on with his day like everything's normal. But silence has a way of creeping in during the quiet hours, when there are no distractions and no noise to drown it out. That's when your absence starts getting loud in his mind. That's when he starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and if someone else is getting the love he once had effortless access to. Men aren't always vocal about their feelings. They don't always say what they're thinking or admit how much they miss you, but they feel it. And when the silence lingers, it becomes unbearable. If he had real feelings for you, if there was a real bond, then not hearing from you shakes him. He starts asking himself if you're done, if you're mad, if you've moved on. He'll question if his behavior pushed you away, if his carelessness drove you to finally let go. And sometimes that's the only way a man truly realizes the impact you had on his life when you remove it. But what's important is what he does next. The way a man responds to your silence tells you everything you need to know about his intentions. A man who genuinely loves and respects you will not let you stay silent for long. He won't be able to. He'll reach out, he'll ask what's wrong, he'll try to fix it. He may not be perfect, but he'll show you with his effort that he doesn't want to lose you. Because when a man cares, he doesn't stay quiet in your silence. He breaks his own to reconnect with you. On the other hand, a man who disappears when you go quiet, who doesn't call, doesn't text, doesn't check in, that man just told you who he is. Maybe he was never invested. Maybe he only valued the access and not the actual relationship. And as painful as it is, that realization sets you free. It hurts, yes, but it also saves you from continuing to pour into someone who was never going to pour into you. The beauty of silence is that it brings clarity. It stops the emotional noise and gives both people space to reflect. For you, it's a chance to step back and see things from the outside. You begin to ask yourself, was I chasing this man? Was I begging for crumbs? Was I doing too much just to feel seen and appreciated?